Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Build a polished wardrobe that shows you stay you wherever you go with Mack Weldon. Use code MAC25 for 25% off your first order of $125 or more at MackWeldon.com.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Hey, how's it going? Jeryko here.
Welcome to the show. So I really love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning, charts our trajectory in life. Our little habits that we pick up along the way follow us into our adulthood. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like? And were you always into music? And yeah, how did your journey begin?
For sure, yeah. I joined my first band with a friend of mine when I was in seventh grade. Actually, I met this kid in middle school. Moved to a new middle school, and he played saxophone. I played guitar, and we started a band called Yield to Pedestrians. And that was kind of the beginning of my my journey. I'd been at the time like very inspired by a lot of the alt pop, alt rock bands that were big at the time, and just wanted to have fun and make music.
I love that. Was it like, were you like in a musical household?
Not so much, really. It was just like friends. I had a lot of friends that played music, and we would get together and jam, and just my grandmother had this basement that we would all just get together and make music in. Which, looking back, I feel bad that we would make so much noise in her house, but we had a good time.
She understood. She's like, she knows that that's your passion. And, I really feel like that's also really cool when you have support from family, especially, when I was young, I told my parents, I was like, hey, I'm going to be a filmmaker. And they're like, okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like,
yeah.
Cool.
Totally. Yeah.
But,
that support from family is key.
Yeah, right. It's so key, and it's so helpful that like you don't think like maybe my idea is not so far-fetched or whatever. Maybe you don't quite know what it is at a young age, but you understand like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. And not many people actually stay on that path.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that early support I feel like is crucial to allowing it to become a part of who you are.
Absolutely. So let's get in a little bit into your musical journey. I really love, first of all, I really just love your name, your artist name. I feel like that in itself goes a long way because it's like it's so like, I mean, it could also be biblical, in so many other in a sense as well. But I do think it's a cool artistry name.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll tell you the quick story behind that is that my grandfather. I'm named after my middle name is after my grandfather, Joshua.
Nice.
And I read this story from the Bible, Joshua and the Battle of Jeryko, and the way that they fought the battle was through using the ram's horn to kind of it was like an instrument that destroyed the walls. It broke down the walls of Jericho, and the idea is that sound breaks down walls, and so that's kind of like
Mm.
the theme that I've been running with and been driving home. So my tagline is "Make noise, break walls." And
Mm.
I think that's what music does. Music has that ability to break down walls between people, break down walls, in our hearts, just like just open it all up.
Absolutely. And I just love to get into this, debut full-length album, which you invite listeners to go on a journey into deeper authenticity, which I absolutely love. When I read that, I was like, yes. I love that you're not
Nice.
afraid to explore that. What inspired this? And tell me the process.
For sure, yeah. I think that there's different stages that we go through in life, and I think that one that's often talked about is kind of the first coming of age that we go through, when we first learn what it means to be an adult, what it means to be in a relationship for the first time or have responsibility for the first time. And I think there's a lot of stories told about that time because it's a pretty like magical and romantic time for a lot of people,
Hmm.
end of high school, beginning of college, early 20s. And I think that there's, as you continue on in life, it could be in your later 20s, early 30s, or whenever really, where you have kind of a second coming of age
Hmm.
where you're forced to ask the real questions of, what do I really want my life to look like? Who do I want to be surrounded by? What are my values? Where you kind of have to like commit deeper to who you are and who you want to be and, the life that you want to create. And that's kind of
Absolutely.
that's kind of where that album came from.
And I think too, what I love about this is that you're not afraid to go there to these like this place. And I feel like this is a part of everyone's journey, but musically, right? It's not so like, you know, mainstream wise now the music you hear on the radio isn't so conscious. It's just very kind of numbing in a way.
Yeah.
So it's really refreshing for me to hear something that explores topics that are good for the soul and just really good for ourselves in our journey. So kudos to you for wanting to do something like this.
Thank you. I appreciate you for seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just feel like music now is just so it's just different. It's not yeah, with everything that's going on in the world, you just you want something to want to listen to music that not just speaks to your spirit, but put you in a good mood, and the music now
Totally.
on the mainstream doesn't feel like it's doing that. It's more so making us more anxious. We just, yeah, a lot of people are just, they're not really talking about substance. I guess that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you, and I'm aware of that too. And it's something that I definitely try to push back against. Creating, and it's for me, it's not just about the music. It's about the whole experience that comes with the music. It's about the live shows. It's about the community that's created
Mhm.
around the music, and it's just like bringing people together, connecting. I like to think of it as like a three-pronged connection. There's like through my music, I like to create experiences where people connect to themselves, can connect
Mhm.
to each other, connect to other people, and connect to the divine and whatever that means for them, and
Mhm.
some kind of spiritual experience.
Wow, I think that's absolutely amazing. Would you say you've always kind of been that person, like, or just time kind of taught you that to go
That's a
there?
good question. I think that it's definitely like a natural part of who I am, but
Okay.
I think time is what carves you into the person you know that lives like that. It's always a choice. You can choose to focus on other things in life. There are other things that are much easier to focus on, and will lead to a different life. And it's oftentimes a path of being more conscious and more aware can be more challenging, because you're being faced with real things all the time.
Hmm.
But so it's always a choice, and I'm grateful that that I'm able to kind of to stick on that path. And I think when you push other people to be on that path, it forces you to stay on that path as well.
Hmm. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Do you feel like music, like artists have a responsibility when it comes to creating music like for listeners or just people who listen to music?
Totally. I mean, I think we have to like I think the artists today are some of the most powerful, impactful people because especially for young people, it's like these are the people that are defining their outlook on life. They're the ones that are with them in the day to day, the ones that they go to when they're having a hard time. And yeah, if you're just putting out more negativity into the world, then that's what's gonna grow. And so, the yeah, especially bigger artists, they have to be thinking about who's receiving their music and what it's doing to the people that are really connecting to it.
Absolutely. I read too that some of your influences were some, I mean, I honestly was just just it's a really good mashup of artists. Chance the Rapper, Mac Miller. I mean, so cool. Um,
Lowe's knows how to help you save. This July 4th, get up to 40% off select Whirlpool kitchen appliances. Plus, get an additional 10% off when you buy 2 or 3 select major appliances. And when you buy 4 or more, you'll save an additional 20%. Find the right appliances and features that fit your kitchen's unique needs and style. Shop Whirlpool 4th of July deals at Lowe's. Valid through 7/9. See Lowe's.com for details. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Selection varies by location.
well, now, and I'm curious as far as like Chance the Rapper, you got those artists out there that, and Mac, rest in peace. I feel like
Yeah.
these artists were just so different. They dared to kind of not go by the regular playbook, quote
Yep.
unquote, like Hollywood standards or music
Yeah.
standards. But dare to go against the grain. And I feel like even, Chance the Rapper being an independent artist, I think that was my first time actually being introduced to someone that did it on such a scale, but kept it in house. Um, how how do you manage that? Do you feel like nowadays we're in a time where we can, um, with all the technology, AI, we can actually really manage our own careers?
Yeah, I mean, those two people that you picked on specifically are big inspirations for me. I think, now Mac just dropped his new album, a post-mortem album, Balloonerisms,
Mm,
which is such a powerful thing to see how like somebody can when somebody is such an authentic artist and person that even after they're dead, they can still be impacting people with their music, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like such a powerful testament to who he was. And then I think that only happens with artists that are like super real and being authentic to themselves, not in just their music, but with their audiences. And Chance the same. Chance is really like a man of God, and he talks about things
Hmm.
that other people don't talk about in the music industry. Um, and and yeah, I mean, I think like you said, I think in today's world, it's easier than ever to build a following, to build a community
Hmm.
without the help. I mean, obviously, help from the industry is cool, but it's got to be if it's happening, it's got to be aligned with who you are, with
Mm.
with what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do. And I think what happens a lot with younger artists is that they want to be authentic, but then when somebody else kind of gets in the picture and starts, waving money in front of their face and telling them, all right, I want what you do, but I want it to be like this and like this, then you lose a lot of your authenticity of who you are. And so the longer that
Absolutely.
you can do that and create your brand and your artistry and your music on your own, then, the better off you'll be.
1000%. You know, I think that is so real what you said when you're being authentic with your
Yeah.
music. But I think it even goes beyond music. I think it goes within your life, with self. It starts with yourself. I mean, how can we be real when we don't actually take a look within ourselves and what evaluate what we're doing in the journey? I feel like a lot of times we do fall into this umbrella, creatives do. I feel like it becomes like we're doing it for our careers, but not outside of that. Because I think sometimes our career can get convoluted with our lives, and there's two separate things.
Yeah, totally.
you know.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so yeah, very good point. I have a fun question I like to ask every artist on the show,
For sure.
and there's no wrong answer. But the three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could
Mm.
choose only one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
Wow. Good question.
Thank you.
I think I would go with money
Nice.
because I think the other two, if you treat money the right way, then the other two will follow. Right. I think that if we can make money and we can realize that it's all from God and that we're meant to be using it for the right things and charity and building things in our lives, then people will respect you for how you spend your money and you'll also be able to when I think of power, I think of influence. And I think that, with money comes the opportunity to have influence on people too, and be able to build bigger things. And I think money can be just like anything in life. Money can be treated, in two different ways. Like either you're chasing after it and you're trying to hold on to it, or you're just being yourself and creating, and the money will come to you, and you also realize that it's not yours to hold on to necessarily.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And I like your answer. I feel like that's super honest because most people on the show say respect, which I think that's like you know, I mean, I guess the obvious answer or whatever overall.
Yeah,
It's like if you really think about it, money does help. And if you already have respect, and honestly, I feel like respect is, like, do we know if everyone respects this? I don't think that's even possible. Um,
yeah.
so I think your answer is great.
Thank you.
Great answer. Um, so with this album, what is it that so I also read too the theme that that you explored with this is a personal journey after like experiences behind the scenes in the music industry, working with labels, etc. Has it always been and if you're okay with sharing a little bit of that, some of the obviously the not so highlights of our career, how did you get over the lows when it comes to this industry?
Yeah, that's a good one because I mean it's definitely a journey.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I think if I could point to one particular experience was I think we have a lot that we can learn from. But if I want to get specific, I just started like putting out music and building an audience, like just as COVID had hit, and I had just played my first like show in New York for 300 people at Gramercy Theater. Sorry, at uh, what was it called? I forgot what it's called. Mercury Lounge. There you go.
Nice.
And there was that was like my first real show in New York at a venue, and it felt like there was a lot of momentum. And then, boom, like COVID hit, and it was like, all right, nobody's going out to music, and I wasn't really catching on to the Zoom, concerts and all that stuff. And it felt to me like, all right, I lost the momentum, lost the excitement, and it's gonna have to like start from scratch. But I think, if we're able to adapt, for me, adapting meant just continuing to put out music and just like connect with new people and new audiences and just like build more intimate relationships online with people. And then it wasn't until almost like over 2 years later till I played my next big show. And I wasn't sure what the reception was going to be. And it ended up being, I played a venue like almost triple the size. It was Gramercy Theater in New York, and so I think it's just about
Wow.
holding on. Like it's just about just keeping on going. I know everybody says it, and it sounds so cliche a lot of
Mhm.
times, where it's just like just keep going, and it's hard because it's like we face a lot of challenges, but it's true. If you just keep going and keep focusing on the artistry and on the community and on the fans, and
Mhm.
then it comes together.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Do you believe in, and a lot of people feel this way. They say that AI is destroying our world and it's a scary thing to embrace, but I feel like it has helped me with my business, because I'm only one person, but you can have essentially a team of 10,
Yeah,
that can run
totally.
your business and you don't have to, wear yourself so thin. How do you feel about AI? Do you feel like, are you embracing it or do you have any kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I'm honestly I'm excited by it. I think yeah, I think there's so many cool opportunities. Like I use it a lot for not for music, like I talk to ChatGPT like a friend.
Really? I never knew that you can.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, totally. Literally, I'll tell you last night, like somebody was texting me and said, I'm having a panic attack. And I was like, all right, I had some natural, intuition of how to help out and how to respond. And
Sure.
then while I'm on the phone, I put in ChatGPT. I was like, what are some tips to help people through a panic attack? And it was super helpful.
I love
So I
it.
think I think if we lean into it and just like realize that it can help us with a lot of like random things in our lives just to make things easier. And it's kind of my same outlook that I have with money, where it's like it's if you're using it for the right things, and it's a very
Mhm.
powerful tool. You can use it for the wrong things too. Like you can use AI to rip people off and make money in not so kosher ways. But it's how you approach it.
Yeah,
And at the
1000%.
end of the day, I also think people are always gonna want human connection. So it's like,
Mm.
do I think I'm gonna be outed by some like AI singer? I don't think so. And like, maybe they'll get more streams than me or something, but I promise you my live experience will be more powerful than an AI singer.
Nice. That's a good, interesting thought. Um, I if you weren't into music, would you actually what would like be your profession? Like besides music, if you wasn't like, all right, I'm not gonna be an artist, what would you focus full time on?
So I actually also make movies. I produce.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I produce films as well. So I do that. And I
Very
would that
cool.
probably be, I try to bounce it out a little bit. The music is definitely takes more time for me, but
Hmm.
if music was stripped away from me, then I would lean into the films.
Nice. And what's how so just producer you said, right?
Yeah, producing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. What kind of films do you like? Are you into like any particular genre, any topics?
We're kind of all over the place. We have actually a film that's premiering at Santa Barbara Film Festival in about 2 weeks.
Nice.
It's an indie drama about these two young girls whose mom dies of an opioid overdose, and kind of like the story that unfolds of these two young girls. And it's just like in my music, I try to bring awareness to conscious ideas. So too in the films, it's it's about making an impact and telling important stories.
I think that's beautiful. Very cool. We gotta definitely connect. You do produce films. That's
Yeah.
fucking amazing. Awesome. So you're like the yeah, you're like the what is his name? The singer that did uh oh man, he does it all. He like acts, sings, raps.
Oh, Jerry, not what's his name? You're talking about
Oh
Jared
man.
Leto, that guy with the long
Oh
hair.
no, it's the guy that did the show called Atlanta. He's like an actor.
Childish Gambino. Yeah,
Childish. There you go. You have your childish
uh,
Gambino vibe.
I
You
love I
do it
love that
all.
guy. Actually, my first job out of college was working at a management company, and I was an intern there at first, and it was they managed Childish Gambino, so it was cool to see that from up close. That whole project.
Nice. That's so cool. So have were you like involved in the producer process for this song, this album? Were you in the room like making the beats or making the sounds?
Yeah, yeah. For
Yeah?
sure. I worked with a close friend of mine named Sam. He goes by Prince Fox as a producer and artist. A super, super talented friend of mine. We were in college together, and then we kind of lost contact for a while, and then we reconnected years later, and we just locked in, and we had so much fun making this together.
I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, that's a rare thing to be like multi-talented. That's so cool. You play instruments too?
Yeah, mainly guitar. Guitar is my main
Nice.
instrument, but
Nice.
yeah, yeah, dabble. I think in today's music world, you kind of
Gotta have
It's
to,
it's sort of, yeah, you kind of have to
huh?
is the truth. You got to be like multitasking.
That's so true. Isn't it crazy? Um,
Yeah.
if you could have a coffee date with any legend, music legend, living or dead, who would it be? And what
Wow, great
question would
question.
you have them on the coffee date?
Oof. The first, I'm just gonna go with my gut reaction, which is random to me even, but this is what came up for me. Is Bob Marley.
Heck yeah. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I just think that I mean I've always loved reggae music and Bob Marley, but in particular just the way that he, I keep coming back to like, impact through music, and he really made such an impact, and just spreading his messages of love and kindness and connection. And I guess, yeah, I guess what I would ask him is, how do you get your hair to be so cool? No, no, I would just ask about that journey, about like, fighting for something in a world that's fighting against what you believe in. Uh,
Mm, that's true.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
I mean, I love talking to just like people that I consider warriors of their craft in general and of their message. And I think if you're trying to get a message across in today's world, like you have to be a warrior. You have to really like
Yeah.
fight for what you believe in.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. Do you feel like the music industry is changing for the better for artists?
Yeah, I mean, listen, in today's world, like anybody can build a following.
That's true. That's
It's,
true.
it's incredible. Like I'm seeing it with people all over the place. Like just if you're consistent with your content and you're consistent with your brand and your music, and you're just doing a good job of just putting it online, and then people are gonna want to be a part of it. It's crazy. You'll find like the algorithm of all of these apps just like helps people find the people that they connect to, and that's what it's creepy in a way because it's like
It
you end
is.
up seeing all this stuff that's like so relevant to your life. It's like you're definitely listening to me,
Yeah.
but at the same time it also pushes the people that would want to connect with your vibe, with your
Mhm.
style. And so just, yeah, I mean, the music is in a crazy place today. It's obviously in some ways it's harder because there's so much out there, and they
Yeah.
get like, what is it, like 30,000 songs a week going up, or a day going up on
Jeez.
Spotify, something like that. It's crazy, but at the same time, there's so much more access and so much more ability to connect. So
For sure. For sure.
yeah.
No, I love that connecting because that's what it's about, and you're right. It's like it's kind of it is kind of creepy. That's a great word because, sometimes I forget how many people and how many projects that I've done that,
Hmm.
that you get those people that will write you like, oh my gosh, I saw this and this helped me. And like, I really love you. And I'm thinking, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just out here just doing what I love to do. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's amazing. Yeah, but I can feel it on you too. Like just not even knowing you in person, but just the questions that you're asking, and the realness that you're asking them is like you're genuinely like a curious and real person. So that
Thank you.
is that is gonna touch people, you know?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That's great. I appreciate that. Um, what advice would you give to artists out there or just anyone that wants to get into this wild business that we're in?
Yeah, I would say just start. There's so many young artists that talk to me about like, yo, I have this song and I have this, idea, and I have this, that. It's like just go. Just it doesn't have to be perfect. Just put it out there and just start getting your stuff out there, and you learn from the process of how it's received.
Yeah.
A lot of young artists they want like everything to be perfect and to look a certain way and to sound a certain way before they have all the resources. And it's just like it's much longer process like that. Just put it out, make mistakes, and you learn from them.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna hold you to your first, you know 100 songs that you put out. It's like you can always redefine yourself. You can always readjust things. Some of the biggest artists today, like take like Shabuzi, like
Yeah.
he like totally revamped his style, was going at this for years, and then like caught on to this like country, like country rap kind of style, and it just blew up. you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like you just got to keep like, but he wouldn't know to get to that if he hadn't put out a bunch of his earlier stuff first and realized that he needed to pivot a little bit
Yeah.
and like, mess with different styles. So the only way to do that is by putting out. So just start.
Just start. That's it. Just do it. It's so true because, it's like we think about the journey. And I was looking at something, I was being reminded about just like we can get so locked in to this industry that we just don't really remember to smell the roses and really live and enjoy
Yeah,
those moments. And because they're very fleeting, and that's what life is. And you think about like, I kind of catch myself of like, I got to make sure that I'm also enjoying the journey and not just work, work, work. Because yeah, we love what we do, but I think most of the time, well, most people don't see the work that we put into it. It's burning the midnight oil sometimes.
100%.
It's just to create art. But yeah, how do you stay grounded and just and remember to enjoy the moments? What things do you do to keep yourself like?
I think you gotta be having fun at a certain point. If you're
Mhm.
not having fun, then you gotta question like, all right, what am I doing wrong here? Because we're not in music to to make money, right? It's
Right.
like, yeah, we're gonna make money, God willing, and we should all be able to do that and succeed. But like, there's a lot of other things you could choose that would be a lot smarter. And so you have to love what you do. And if you're not loving some part of it, then you got to ask the question of how can I change my methods right now to really enjoy it
Mm,
more. So I love it. Like I love being in the studio. I love I love live performances. I don't love the parts of it that are hard for me are like the promotion and the marketing and all that
yeah.
stuff. Some people love that. Some people love making content and Instagram and this and that. It's just not really my like cup of tea, but the
Mhm.
other things make it worth it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Where can people find you on social media to follow everything you have going on?
At Jeryko Music. So Jeryko on pretty much anything you want to, find it on. But Spotify at is Jeryko, Jeryko.
Nice.
And yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful.
would love to
Um,
hear from people.
absolutely, absolutely. Really quick, do you have a favorite like place that you performed a song and like and does it like why does it stick out to you?
Hmm. Um, I played for somebody in a hospital recently that was injured,
Oh.
and I was asked to come out and he couldn't speak but he took this remote control for this TV in his room and he pulled up his Spotify and showed me his liked songs and he had a whole bunch of liked songs of mine and that was like a really powerful emotional moment that I call upon like when I think about
Mm.
why I'm doing this. It's like you never know where your music will bring people strength and where
Yeah.
you'll be able to connect people, so that was like an unexpected and powerful moment. That was really,
Mm.
really powerful to be able to sing with him.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's so wild to think about this journey of art, like of music or whatever journey you're on. Um like when you start to become an influence for someone,
Hmm.
that it just puts you in a like you don't think like it's like what we think about legends, right? They were probably were they were at our point of our career, like and not a legend, quote unquote, but somehow
Totally.
came a legend through. And then people start looking up to them. It's like, when does that start to change? Is it like a weird shift or, and it's like when you see it happening slowly, it's like, whoa, is this what
Yeah.
we
I,
want?
I don't know. Maybe one day if I'm a legend, I'll tell you how it goes.
Oh, I can definitely see that happening for sure, for sure. You're already there, and again, congratulations on your album.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's exciting. And really quick, do you have a quote for us, leaving out one of your favorite quotes, and we'll close the show?
Wow. A quote. Um, the ordinary borrows its brilliance from the divine.
Beautiful. Love
Is
that.
that, yeah, our ordinary life is a lot more a lot more powerful, a lot more magical than we think it is, and we just gotta like focus on those little things sometimes and just realize how crazy every day is.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Appreciate you. Really fun talking to you.
Same. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.